7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All systems go.
You're listening to Sudbury News Talk.
I want to show you something.
Stand by.
On the morning shift.
Anything
Could happen.
Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift. I'm AJ Walsh. Glad to be here with you. Thankful that you're here with us. We're live on CKLU 96.7 FM each and every weekday morning between 7:30 and 8:30 a.m. We're also streaming live at cklu.ca on the internet. You can click on the Radio Player Canada app. You can stream us. You can download the same Radio Player Canada app, and you can take us with you. Listen to us anywhere, anytime on your favorite device. And we also are streaming live at facebook.com/Sudbury News, youtube.com/Sudbury News, and later we're on demand on those we're on demand on the two platforms, if you will, also along with being on demand on x.com/Sudbury News afterwards. So if you're if you've been on the show as a regular for a while, you already know all that information. You also know that CKLU just had their pledge week, and it was very successful. However, we do continue to rely on your support. It's your station. You are the you in CKLU, and so if you're at cklu.ca, remember to either purchase some of the merch to help the station. And also, if you already have it or you don't need it, just make a donation. It's simple as that. We got a great show planned for you today, as usual. Make sure to comment along with liking, sharing, subscribing, and following our social media channels. We'll do our best to get your comments up on the screen. You can comment on the Facebook Live or the YouTube Live. It'll come up on the screen. I'll share it for those watching. Read it for those listening. At some point, we're going to continue on with the news of the day, deep dive today. We're going to check in with our friend Moose on the Loose with his latest episode, talking about the election and a lot of the things around the election that you won't hear on mainstream media, but it'll include mainstream media in his episode because we're going to be talking about how mainstream media covers our politics. The reason why they cover it the way they do is because they're paid by our tax dollars, which comes through the government, which then there's strings attached in terms of how they cover these politicians. And it is what it is. But anyways, we'll have that local news and that and much more. So stay tuned. It's going to be a great show because you're going to make it a great show because this is your conversation on your station, a chance to share your views on the news. We appreciate each and every one of you as our community grows on Facebook and YouTube and on CKLU. So thank you very much, everyone, for being part of this community, the community at large, Greater Sudbury, the community that is Sudbury News Talk each and every weekday morning. All these communities, we really appreciate you and the contribution that you put into this show is very much appreciated. So with that, we appreciate our sponsor, our partner for the weather, Voyager Tire. We'll quickly go through some of the weather and we'll be back with news headlines, your comments, Moose on the Loose, and local news headlines right after this. And as usual, our weather brought to you by Voyager Tire, where they have great people, great products, great prices. Sorry, I just got a little glitch there with my switcher here. It happens every once in a while. Visit them at the intersection of Falconbridge, Kingsway, and 2nd Ave. Drop in. let them know that we sent you. You get a 10% discount. Currently, it's negative 10 degrees, but it feels like minus 17. It's mostly cloudy out there. Today, we can expect a mix of sun and cloud, and then becoming sunny this morning, apparently. And the high will be +1, wind chill minus 17 in the morning. Tonight, clear, wind will be very low, moderate, low of -8, wind chill -13 overnight. Then Thursday, a mix of sun and clouds, 60% chance of rain, showers in the afternoon. Then a 60% chance of flurries or rain showers late in the afternoon. Wind will be gusting up to 50 kilometers per hour in the morning. High of +4, wind chill -13 in the morning. Okay, so here you go. Tomorrow, mix of rain or flurries, high of 4, 60% chance, and then a 60% chance of snow or rain again on Friday. Saturday, 0 periods of snow or rain. Freezing rain on Sunday with a high of -1. Monday, cloudy, high of 0. And then Tuesday, apparently, 1 and sunny. I look at your satellite as of yesterday morning. So let's just refresh this for a second and get some more up-to-date satellite here for you. And yes, it's coming from CBC, their weather part of their website. And that's your Sudbury weather, brought to you by Voyager Tire and Sudbury Weather. Visit Voyager Tire online, voyagertire.com, or drop in and let them know that we sent you Sudbury News Talk on CKLU, and you'll get a 10% discount. We'll be back with news headlines, your comments, and more right after this. Alrighty then, as one Canadian used to say all the time. We are coming at you live here on Facebook, YouTube, CKLU, later on demand at Facebook, YouTube, x.com/Sudbury News. Okay, currently joining us on YouTube, it's Nancy. Good morning. Smiley emoji. Also, Northern Hillbilly. Good morning, people. And Judy, good morning on Facebook. Monique, good morning, Sudbury. Smiley emoji. Marianne, good morning, everyone from Snowy Berry. It's still snowing down there. And liked and shared as usual. And Nana, good morning. And blessings, everyone. Heart emoji. Vin, good morning to you. Denise, blessings, everyone. Belinda, good morning. You will inspire some and trigger others, but both are medicine. Heart emoji. So yeah, you just be you. Be the best you can be. And it will trigger some people. You know, it's interesting how if you remind someone of someone else, they immediately get triggered, right? Like someone did something to someone in the past. You look like that person. You never met them before in your life, but they'll be triggered by you, and they'll attribute all the things that that person did to them to you until you change that if you get to know them. It's kind of a weird thing. But just be you, and eventually, you know, we find our place in life. We find our tribe. We find our people. And, you know, like minds kind of attract each other. And if I'm right on the community that we're building here, is like minds also want to share the things that we know that benefit our lives and benefit our communities and benefit the world. And once we find these things out, we want to share them with others, right? And so it's a kind of a desire that I find a lot of those that are on the show have, is to figure things out and then share it with other people. Whether other people want to hear it or believe it or what, it's just we always have a desire to help others around us. Okay. Whose birthday is it here? I'm not aware at the moment. I didn't get on my personal Facebook this morning to see if anyone who are personal friends with me, it's her birthday. So hopefully you're going to share that in a bit. So good morning, Hazel. Thanks for being on. Denise, I've been telling people, but now they're actually letting it out. You'll need a license to be a parent. They will control everything. Reminds me of the old Bible when they talk about God showing people how to have babies in the Garden of Eden. Oh, interesting. I'm not aware of that. You'll need to share that with me in Messenger or something, Denise, where you get that from. So I'm interested to know that. So can you tell me where that came from about the Garden of Eden? And I'd appreciate that. Thank you. And good morning from Thailand. Oh my goodness. Good morning to you. Thanks for being on. Hopefully the things we talk about are interest to you. They're usually about things going on around our community, around our country, around the world, and they more than likely will affect you in Thailand as well. So, but good morning and thanks for joining us. We will be talking about, we have a really interesting Canadian election coming up. It's the shortest ever in our history. The campaign is anyways. And so lots of stuff coming up from Moose on the Loose will be joining us with their latest segment to shed some light on that. And it's Denise's birthday, apparently. Oh, no. I mean, there's lots of stuff going on behind the scenes that I'm not aware of here, guys. So good, happy birthday, Denise. And apparently condolences to Marianne that I'm not aware of, but my heart goes out to you. And happy birthday, Denise. There, you got a lot of love on the show here from many people. Evelyn, good morning to you as well. So, and definitely first person that we've had that's commented on the show that's joining us from Thailand. We've had people from all over the world over time that have kind of chimed in to say hello to us here in Greater Sudbury. Brian Poulain, good morning, Sudbury Patriots. Canada flag. David, good morning. Take care. Stay safe. Same to you. And Pat, good morning. Peace sign emoji. And Northern Hillbilly, nice and sunny. If there's no chemtrails, for sure. That's 100%. We talk about that on the show all the time, trying to make people aware what's going on in the skies above their heads. And Liette, good morning, everyone. Hand clap emoji from Collingwood. Good morning, Liette. And Lorraine, good morning, everyone. Liette. Happy birthday, Denise. Gonna have a lot of happy birthdays here for sure. Belinda says, yes, the WEF want to control probably the everything, but the election for sure. Someone from the WEF is running and is our current prime minister at the moment. So we'll see how that shapes up. Evelyn, moving into a minimal cabin in the bush has gotten me away from the corporate lifestyle. It feels great too, adding a water catchment system next month as well. So that's awesome, Evelyn. And thanks for the updates on how everything's going with your off the grid living. It's something that a lot of us are interested in and want to do and are curious to find out how to do it, even if it's possible. So thanks for the updates on your journey, your recent journey. Yes, exactly. So there's someone else here, Nancy, who says they are not aware of that particular event in the Bible. So yes, keep us informed on that. And Chris, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning to you, Chris. And Mary, good morning from St. Catharines. There we have people from all over the world, all over Canada. Our community is growing, and we appreciate you for being on. If this is your first time, it's not your first time, or your first time commenting, either way, welcome and thank you for being on. And Denise is saying, thank you everyone for the birthday wishes and good morning. And good morning to you, Andrew. That rhymes, right? So thanks for being on. And a few local headlines here we'll go through, and then we'll check on Moose on the Loose for the latest, because we're all, I'm sure we're all like interested in what's going on in our country with the federal election that's coming up, and there's a lot at stake here. This is a very crucial election, probably the most crucial in Canadian history according to my opinion. and we'll have more on that. But first of all, advocates argue people will die without consumption sites in charter challenge of closures. Group seeking injection against 10 closures set to end in March. We talked about that. That Doug Ford said, if there's an safe injection site within 200 meters of a elementary school, it shouldn't be. And 200 meters isn't very far away. As any of us who's used a GPS before, when it says in 200 meters do something, we know that's like right in front of us kind of thing, right? So if an injection site is 200 meters away from a school, I don't even know why the people who advocate for safe injection sites don't just say, well, we'll move it. We'll move it away from the school. There's no talk of that. Anyways, it's just bizarre. Unclear when homelessness and addiction hubs will open in Sudbury and Sault Ste. Marie. So remember, the Ontario government said, okay, enough with the safe injection sites. Let's have these heart hubs and have a more holistic approach with all of the steps involved. And but when Ontario Minister of Health Sylvia Jones announced 18 new homeless and addiction recovery treatment centers, or heart hubs, on the eve of the provincial election, she said the goal was to have them be operational by April 1st, 2025, but there's still no word. So was that an election promise, as we hear so many times? We're hearing now these federal election promises. Some of them don't come to fruition, right? Canada needs to develop its national. The first story was from Sudbury.com. The second was from CBC. This is also another one from CBC. Canada needs to develop its natural resources as fast as possible, says Pulp and Paper CEO. Representatives of Northern Ontario's forest, steel, canola industries shared their views on trade and tariffs as the federal election campaign gets underway. It's also from CBC. If you want more on that, just go to Sudbury.news, which is our local news aggregator. You can click on whatever story from whatever news outlet and catch it there. And Sudbury.com has a segment each and every morning where they kind of share the top stories of the day before in the morning. It's called Good Morning Nickel City. Here are stories to start your day. So if that's interesting to you and you want to know, you just click on that. Okay, well, that's more of a possible softening of April 2nd tariff. Zero comfort for industry leaders. Again, that's Sudbury.com, talking about Donald Trump's back and forth of, we're going to have tariffs. Okay, no tariffs. Tariffs, no tariffs. Not sure the strategy of that, but I'm sure some people out there know exactly why he's doing what he's doing. I'm not aware of why he's taking that particular stance, but Northern Hillbilly has a view of what I think is possible as well, that the election could be stolen in Canada by nefarious ways. And so we'll have to keep our eyes on that and try as much as possible to do our little part on our little show in our little segment of the country to prevent that from happening. If that's the plan, let's try and disrupt that plan as much as we can and make it a fair election. So that way, whatever Canadians decide, even if they decide something that's not in their best interest, as long as they decide it, they decide it. And that's what should happen. There should be no monkey business going on behind the scenes in an election, of any election in any country, especially in Canada. So let's just make sure that that doesn't happen here. So here, audit of 17, this is from Sudbury.com, audit of 17 major city capital projects yield changes. So the headline is really great for people like us, right? It's like, okay, they did an audit of 17 major city capital projects and it yields changes. They're like, oh, good. They're finally auditing themselves. But then you read a little bit further. Although nothing major appears to come out of City Auditor Ron Fraser's audit of city capital project management and procurement processes, of course, if you work for the city and you're the city auditor, how many things are you actually going to find? But it did produce some recommendations to help hone city procedures with lessons learned, which he said city staff were quick to adopt. And I'm sure they were, because I'm sure there weren't very many. And I'm sure it didn't hold anyone accountable. And I'm sure it didn't really find anything that's going to hold anyone accountable with wasting money or processes that, could someone did something that was found that could get them fired. They're not looking for those kind of things. That's not what they're not auditing for that. They're auditing for specific processes that suit their needs. And that's why we need a real audit of a third party, arm's length organization to audit our city. Similar, and I was calling for this way before Doge came around, or how controversial that is with people. But an audit, a true audit of our city to uncover anything that isn't efficient and, where money's leaking out. And I'm sure there is, but there's everybody holding to this thing that it's going to cost too much money. It's not needed, blah, blah, blah. But that usually is the statement of people who have things they stand to lose if it happens, or things to hide. So let's say I became mayor. First thing I would do is have an arm length audit, third party audit of somebody who is qualified to audit the city. It would be audited from ground up, backwards, forwards, up and down, all around audited. And people would be made aware of what's been going on before I came to be mayor. So if I was ever to run, you can probably guess what would happen to me before I actually took the office, right? All right. So also a couple other headlines I wanted to get to here. Laurentian University had, a little panel talking about the trade war, which will probably go nowhere. But anyways, it's Laurentian University. People here discussing, some of the things we could do with tariffs to lessen the impact on Canada. We'll see if any of their ideas go anywhere or become anything. Okay, so there was a couple other headlines here I wanted to highlight. So Sudbury judge worries about reputation of the city's downtown, and they very well should, because our city's downtown has been in decline for so many years. And it's really sad to see what's happened with our downtown. So many people struggling, and businesses struggle because of the people who are struggling, who are on the streets, who don't have a home to live in. They don't have anywhere to go. A lot of them are turning to drugs as a way to cope with their situations. A lot of them are in the situation that they are in because of their drug use. So it's just this reciprocal thing that is a very sad cycle that people are in. So she makes the comments while dealing with what the Crown called a nuisance at the mall. Okay, and there's a story from CBC says, don't trust the polls in the election, former Northern Ontario politicians say. Polls can be misleading. Stressing that voter engagement and campaign efforts will decide the 2025 election, federal election. That is true. We'll get more into that with our Moose on the Loose segment here, as Sudbury.com is saying that the Liberals are holding on to a 6-point lead over the Conservatives. The federal Liberals are pushing further ahead of the Conservatives in voter support, according to Sudbury.com. And almost 1 in 2 Canadians surveyed said they think the Liberals will win the election. A new poll suggests. Well, we'll see. Moose on the Loose will talk about that and how certain media outlets will skew different poll results, right? And we just heard you can't trust poll results. And we'll see what's really happening in the polls and how Canadians really feel. One thing I was going to point out was I listen to CBC quite a bit, CBC radio, because I'm in the car and I love talk radio. A lot of times there's no good songs on the radio, so I'm just, surfing through the different channels, and I end up on CBC. It's really hard to listen to, by the way, because it just is what it is. Their programming could use a lot of tweaking and honing to be more reflective of Canada, kind of thing. But it's very activist orientated with certain issues. There's activists on the radio perpetuating their causes and trying to promote their issues of why they're activists. But anyways, that's just what it is. But when I'm listening to this cross-country checkup with Ian Hannah-Mansing, it's just not, they must have a huge filter, because it's just a bunch of people saying the same thing over and over and over. I don't really see the cross-Canada point of view. And a more local, reporter on the street kind of thing from Thunder Bay the other day was interviewing people. Let's see how people are feeling about the election. Everybody was like, yeah, Trump is the main thing. And you know what? I just don't trust the Conservatives. They just, this, that, and the other. I think Mark Carney's our guy. Everybody. And then the person who's doing the interview has the gall to say, this is a close election coming up. It's going to be very close. Well, how did they find only liberals and NDPs to comment when the election's going to be close? So doesn't that make give your head a shake? Because he's going around apparently just finding random people for their comments, but he wasn't able to find one Conservative on the street, but yet it's going to be a close election. You know what I mean? There's something wrong with that. So, Moose on the Loose kind of points that out with one caller, a Conservative who got through. He must have said he's going to support Mark Carney before he got on. And I was also going to say, hey, any of you guys, I think you should call in to cross country checkup. Tell them you were a staunch Conservative supporter, but now you're changing because you just don't trust Poilievre. That's what you're going to talk about. And then when you get on, just share how you really feel. And that's all you can do, right? Because you won't get on if you say what you're really going to talk about. It is what it is. So without further ado, Moose on the Loose will take it from here, talking about the very things that we were talking about, just more in depth.
And I'm a former Liberal. I'm a blue-collar union guy. Mm-hmm. And they're all coming out this time federally for Pierre.
Mark Carney's got some explaining to do. Welcome back to Moose and Loose. My name's David. Today, we're going to be going through the Geoffrey Eggstein files. I've got my hands on both the redacted and unredacted files. There is direct links from that book, Geoffrey Eggstein's Little Black Book of Contacts, and Mark Carney's family. We also got updates on the fishermen who are locked out from Mark Carney's event, the French debate that was canceled because Mark Carney got scared, new polling data. Let's jump into this. Starting off this episode, we're on Polymarket here, so take a look at the graph going on here. You can see Poilievre went down and coming back up. Now Poilievre is in the lead here by 1%, 51 to 50. I mean, technically that's over 100, but we look at this one, popular vote. Look at Pierre skyrocketing up here. We're at 61% versus Carney at 40%. Party with the most seats. It's sitting here. Pierre's back on top, 51 to 49. Looking at some polling data, we got this new one here. Angus Reid coming from Shreyat East, 38% Conservatives, 46% Liberals, 2,400 adults online poll. My question is, where are these people being polled? Is it city centers? How do they pick their people? Got another one here. This is 1,100 people, so half the size. This is a Nanos poll, 36.5% Conservatives, 34% Liberals. Also got an update on this. So I showed you guys on the last video, this PPC doctoring of the video. Well, it turns out this was too close to call. So they've just replaced that with PPC to trick people. And the first one here, 52. So this is some election interference here that, we need to watch out for. So next up, we need to talk about this guy up here, because there's some serious ties here that need to be addressed. First off, out of pure luck, we have Rebel News that were asking people about this on the street because they're running their truck around this truck here with this photo. So check out this. They asked this lady on the street. She says she's a journalist and she thinks that's not Mark Carney.
Don't like about it.
It's all lies.
What is lies on this?
That he was with Epstein and Maxwell.
But you have a picture of them together.
That's not even him. It doesn't even look like him.
It's him. You don't find that on the picture
I'm
is
sorry.
not.
I used to be a journalist, and I'm not buying it.
So I'm about to make her look really stupid.
It's not him. You're saying to me it doesn't like him at all.
No, the face is shorter, the chin is longer. No,
So what do you think it is, that picture?
some other guy. It's just some other
What
guy.
was the relationship? It's just what we want to know.
Oh, well, we need a truck driving around influencing
Because
people.
nobody's talking about it.
Because there's nothing to talk about.
There is, and she's in denial, and she knows it.
But the fact
Do your
that they
research,
are
honey.
here, not only she actually ran away and accused me to not do my research about Mark Carney, but his dog just make a big poo on the ground and she didn't actually clean it afterwards.
So she said, do your research. That lady is about to get humiliated because what we've got here is Joffrey Eggstein's book. Joffrey Eggstein, up here in the top left corner. This is the redacted version. The one to the left here up in this tab. As you can see in that little preview window is the unredacted version. I won't be showing that on my channel because I don't want to get in trouble for showing personal information. But you can see here, every single person in Eggstein's book has, these are all phone numbers and has address, it has email addresses, home addresses, etc. So I have both versions, and you can see this is 90 pages of people that Eggstein had in his book. It's time to talk about this because there's some serious links here that need to be addressed. So first off, we've got Mark Carney's wife, Diana Fox Carney. So she has a sister. Her sister's name is Tanya right here. Her sister Tanya would go on to marry Robin Caesar III Baron Rotherwick. So this is Mark Carney's wife's sister's husband. He went, and as it says here, put in Tanya right there, Tanya Jane Fox, Diana Carney Fox, Mark Carney's wife. This is Mark Carney's sister-in-law. Just to show you, here they are together. This is that Baron guy, Lord Rotherwick, as it says here, Lord Rotherwick. And another one here just to show you, article, Tanya Rotherwick. She took on his name. This is Mark Carney's wife's sister, Tanya Rotherwick. Now that we have that set, we know who these people are. You know where this is going. You just know that when I scroll down here, you know what you're about to find. So scrolling down to the R, here it is, Tanya Rotherwick. And Robin, go back here, Lord Rotherwick, this guy's name, Robin Caesar, going back to Joffrey Eggstein's book, Robin Rotherwick, Tanya Rotherwick. This is Mark Carney's sister-in-law. His wife's sister is in Joffrey Eggstein's book. Why are they in the book? Now, I can tell you, I'm not going to show you this, but I can tell you by looking at all this, there is 7 phone numbers to get in contact with not only Mark Carney's sister-in-law, but also with Mark Carney's wife, which is right here, Diana. You can see in the bottom corner. I'm going to move over to the unredacted version because this one here is a little blurry and down-resed. So I'm going to have to redact this myself, but this is the unredacted version. And you can see here, Diana. So this is Mark Carney's wife's phone number, and she has 2 phone numbers here, one H and one W, home and work number, I would assume. There's one for country, which is another phone number. Above it is an address here, which we'll get back to in a second. There's an email address that I'll blur out. And there's 2 more phone numbers, one that's right here and one that's right here. And both of those are for Tanya and Robin Rotherwick. So they have 2 numbers. Mark Carney's wife has 2 numbers. There's a country one, and then there's 2 other numbers above it here, which could be for Mark Carney. Don't know. But don't know. So now let's get to this. Cornbury Park, Charlbury. This is important because this famous photo that we've seen, which is on Shutterstock, if we take a look, there's a whole bunch of them, as you can see. And I'll just go to show you a few of these photos here. So these all come from the same photographer. Now there's 2 photos here. We've seen this one before, the famous one, but there's also this one, which also has Maxwell in the photo, talking to Mark Carney's wife right here. And if we go back to this photo, let's take a look here. So if we look where this is right here, Cornbury Park, Oxfordshire. If we take a look back at the document, Cornbury Park right there. This address here is Mark Carney's address, or was his address. I'm assuming he still owns that home in England for this here, because this party was at Mark Carney's house. As you can see here, if you click on any of these, it's a Wilderness Festival, Cornbury Park, Oxfordshire, Britain, the governor of the Bank of England, Mark Carney. So this is an event that was put on at his house and his grounds, as far as I know. And that's why there's so many photos of him and her at their event, which directly lines up with their home address here. So just because Mark Carney and his wife were hanging around with Maxwell, directly connected to Joffrey Eggstein, it doesn't necessarily mean anything, but you've got to wonder, they're in the book. This is his book. You know, this is his little black book with all the different names. So this is not someone he just met once, he talked to once. They're obviously friends or some sort of associates who would want to see each other multiple times. Has Mark Carney and his wife been down to Eggstein's Island? Did they partake in activities down there? I don't know, but it sure does offer up a lot of questions. Mark Carney needs to answer why his wife is in this book here. Are either one of these his phone number? Why are two of his wife's phone numbers in this book? It's disturbing to say the least. These billionaire elites all seem to mingle together. How much involvement did Carney actually have with Joffrey Eggstein? This is starting to feel icky, so we're going to move on. So next up, we got an update here. So we've got some footage of the fishermen. I ran this story yesterday of the fishermen getting locked out at Mark Carney's event in Newfoundland. Well, now we've got some footage of them.
Oh, we're Liberal supporters. We're excited to see Prime Minister.
No, you're not. No, you're not.
Oh yeah, he's just a regular Joe. We want to see him.
So they tried to get in.
Well, we're looking for anyone that's already you and speak to.
Yeah. When the event's open, I'm sure like there's going to be someone who can help. Right? Like that door shouldn't have been unlocked. Right? We'd like to talk to her. Okay.
We voted then.
The event hasn't started yet either, right? Yeah.
Not invited. Get out.
It's just really early. We're looking to talk to the minister.
This is disgraceful. These people are on the brink of losing their jobs. So Liberals call the police and kick them out. That's the full story there. Disgraceful. Got this story here, which is interesting. It says CSIS officials say China, India, Russia, Pakistan could interfere in election. I don't like that they're priming this, that there could be foreign interference. That's what this seems like.
Election officials in Ottawa are watching closely for any signs of foreign interference during the campaign. Elections Canada and the Centre for Cybersecurity both spoke today about what and who they're watching out for. The CBC's Mark Harkiswell.
You can just check the Liberals' inboxes. That'd probably be the best place to check first.
Has more details. So, Mark, what exactly are officials saying about this?
Well, Andrew, we got a technical briefing around noon today about how security and intelligence officials plan to watch over the election and try to make sure that it's a safe, secure election. Much of the responsibility falls upon the site task force.
I don't like the vibe going on here. We're going to move on. Next up, we got Pierre Poilievre unveiling his plan to deal with all the street candy that comes in on the ports.
And we will restore order at the border. Liberals have broken the border, allowing 99% of shipping containers to enter without any inspection at all. That's where the drugs, guns, and stolen cars are able to move. Our common sense plan will hire 2,000 more frontline CBSA officers. We will have surveillance towers and scanners that can look right inside those shipping containers. Very simple. If the manifest says that it's widgets in the container, but you look at the scanner and you see it's a beamer, well, then you pull the box aside, you roll the car out, you call the guy on the VIN, you say, were you planning to send your beamer to Turkey today? No, you weren't. You were planning to drive it to work, but it was missing from your driveway. Well, we've got it over at the Port of Montreal. You can pick it up. And then you go to the guy who booked the shipping container and you say, you're under arrest. Common sense.
Yeah.
So, how are we going to pay for it? We have a dollar for dollar principle. We're going to get the money elsewhere. You know what we're going to do? We're going to cancel the multi-billion-dollar gun grab that targets licensed, law-abiding Canadian. So here's the choice. Liberals want to go after Grandpa Joe's hunting rifle. Grandpa Joe's not the problem. He's not shooting up our streets. Here's the choice, my friends. Canada First Conservatives want to protect Canadians from criminals. Liberals want to protect turkeys from hunters. You decide what makes most sense to you.
Yeah, there it is. Get some more scanners, get some more CBSA, clean up this problem. So first comment here says there's a video going around on X showing the crowd to this event. It stretched 3 city blocks around the corner. I had someone email me about this and tell me it was actually even longer than what I showed on the video. It went so far that the police had to start shutting down how long the line could be because it went blocks and blocks and blocks. They had to shut it down because it was blocking too many city streets of people just waiting to get in. Needless to say, it was thousands of people. You gotta check out this on CBC. Guy calls in and just completely blasts the Liberals.
Rob Bosworth, he's in Barrie, Ontario. Hi, Rob.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Do you think this is a good time for an election?
I think it's a fantastic time. I think it's long overdue. This country is in bad shape of 9 years with Liberal just disaster after disaster. And I'm a former Liberal. I'm a blue collar union guy. And I can tell you, all Canada needs to do is just take a look at what just happened in Ontario with Doug Ford and how all the unions supported him, all the blue-collar unions, and I'm one of them. All my union buddies, guys, that are either were NDP or Liberal, all voted for Ford in Ontario, including me. Mm-hmm. And they're all coming out this time federally for Pierre. And the reason, I'll get to the main reason, is what your guest actually said about the economy. This country has been strangled, okay? We got a boot on our neck by these Liberals. So by changing the singer of the band, it isn't going to do anything. It's still the same band that's playing.
And when you say the Liberals, you use the metaphor of boot on the neck. Like, give me an example of what that is.
Well, I mean, you won't be able to keep me on your show this long. I mean, just start with the carbon tax. And Carney says he scrapped it. Yeah, he scrapped the gas part, but he still leaves on the industrial part, and he refuses to take that off. So, I mean, I could go on and on and on, Ian, but it's just one thing after another, okay? The immigration they let in here drove wages down. I see truck driving jobs now for $20 and $25 an hour. I made that in 1990, okay? Because he flooded the market here with all these students who pretended they were students, but now they come into the job market and drove wages right down. I'm talking union wages down too. All right.
Yeah. So I don't know. So I just wonder, for somebody who has such strong feelings as you do and strongly supporting the Conservative Party, what's it been like for you to see the huge turnaround in the polls over the last 6 weeks or so?
This is awful. Was this rage bait? The Liberals are dirty players. They knew to manipulate people's opinion. All they had to do was manipulate the polls and get people believing it, and then just keep stacking them to change people's opinion, and then people will start snowballing a bit. Oh yeah, the banker, maybe he's good. Yeah, Shelley said the banker's good. Maybe, is he good? People look for a leader and then they want to follow. A lot of people don't want to research stuff themselves and figure out what's actually going on. And the Liberals took advantage of that. Of course, they're not going to admit that on the CBC, but...
Okay, so I look at this poll jump as, and I'm a little skeptical of it. And I've seen some other things that say the same thing. Where were the polls taken? Were they mostly done in certain 416 or 905 ridings where it's predominantly Liberal? So like the old saying goes, the poll, you see what the poll is on election day. I'm leery. I heard the same thing about in the States. Look, when we heard with Trump and Biden, we heard the same thing about, oh, she's way ahead, and look what happened.
Okay, Rob, so you know what? Just
as of right now, we have 3 polls showing the Conservatives ahead, and there's still bias on that. Are only Liberals picking up the phone to answer it, and Conservatives are pissed off, say, I don't want to take a poll. I've never gotten a poll in my life. So who are they calling? CBC days are numbered. You love this guy. The call of the truth is in this moment. What's interesting too is at the beginning here, when he starts to talk, when the guy starts heating up in his language, he starts touching his face a bit more. This here is a motion of discomfort because he knows that the CBC will be defunded if Pierre Poilievre wins. Clearly, he doesn't want to hear people saying they're going to vote for Conservative. It's coming, though. We're all voting Conservative. Next up, I got an update to the French debate. So I broke this story pretty early yesterday. Within about 2 hours of me putting up the video, maybe 3 hours, the second French debate done by TVP got canceled. There is still going to be a French debate on Radio Canada. So Radio Canada is running the English and French, the second one getting canceled. I think we should set up a second English one while we're at it here. Let's get Mark Carney debating as much as possible. Mark Carney backed out. even though he said he was going to do it. And then the Liberal team pulled him out. Then TVP, who said every candidate had to pay $75,000, without Mark Carney's $75,000, they said they're not going to put it on. Considering we have so much wasteful spending, you could just pluck any single one item off of the Foreign Affairs Canada and just use that money. I mean, they just sent $100 million to Gaza. That's absolutely insane. Whether Mark Carney wants to show up or not, what's even stupider about this is Ruby Dalla was banned from the Liberal leadership race because of her French, and now Mark Carney doesn't want to have a debate in French. He should be disqualified too. The hypocrisy is out of control with this. With that said, we've got Yves-Francois Blanchette here absolutely blasting Mark Carney for this.
You think he's doing this because he's afraid about his French being compared to yours twice?
So far, I don't know what he's not afraid of. This guy is supposed to be strong enough to face Donald Trump, which is one of the biggest threats on democracy and freedom for a long time. I will face the guy. And then we say, hey, come in Quebec and discuss with us because you want us to vote for you. Oh, I won't go. And I have the perfect pretext. I say, us, the Liberal Party of Canada, we do not have $75,000. We're so poor. Yeah, I do believe that. So I'm saying to him, hey, let's come and face the music.
Officially, he said that he's not going to participate. He hasn't talked about the money being an issue.
The Liberal Party has said that they don't want to pay the $75,000.
Despite them getting $350,000 for free from Ruby Dalla, they don't want to pay the $75,000. We're not buying it.
Not in the official statement, but can I ask you, are you worried that this robs you of an important platform for yourself in an election campaign?
That's the intention of Mr. Carney. I want to rob the Bloc Québécois, which I have refused to acknowledge so far, of a very important stage on which they could force me to reveal something of a program about which I have said nothing so far. This is not the behavior of somebody which has been well equipped with courage.
This whole situation's embarrassing. I mean, just a week ago, there was another, what was it, $80 million to Al-Qaeda? $84 million? I could go find something right now which would be worth 10 times the amount of that $75,000, even the $350,000 on the Foreign Affairs website. On this episode of Far Off Ripoff, here you go. This is one of the most recent ones on there. You can see here, this went in March 6th, just like 3 weeks ago. $4,075,000 to bridging the digital gender gap in Cameroon and Senegal. It's more of the same junk here. Providing gender-responsive busyness management training, online hub for templates, resources, pathways to help women access broader markets. They have an unlimited amount of our money to give over to Africa, but we can't carve off $75,000 or $350,000 to have a French debate for our election, our federal election. Are you kidding me? Our country's a complete joke. It's a circus. You can't have a circus without a Carney. Regardless what I think about Quebec being a part of Canada, I can't imagine a bigger insult to that province than a PM rejecting a debate in their language. Exactly. There's no way he's going to get votes in Quebec if he's not going to debate. And whether you like Quebec or not, or French or whatever, French is integrated part of Canada. The French were the first people to settle in Canada. There's 10 million French-speaking Canadians in Canada, which equals 25% of the population. This will do damage, you bet. Check Polymarket in a couple days, and Poilievre's going to be going straight upwards. To be fair, Carney's French is about as good as Blanchette's English, but Blanchette will show up to the English debate. That's the difference. We should start a GoFundMe for Carney. I was thinking about that if people started fundraising for his French debate. That would be so humiliating. Everyone's here saying, I'll chip in to help him for the debate. Carney is becoming a complete joke if he wasn't already. And here he is being asked about his assets, Brookfield Asset Management, and why he just doesn't sell them.
Why not just sell your Brookfield shares, get rid of your unexercised options to avoid having to recuse yourself?
A couple of things. Thanks for the question, Steve. I've more than complied with all the rules, and I've more than complied with all the rules in advance, well in advance, months and months in advance of the requirements that were set up and that currently operate. By the way, requirements that Mr. Poilievre voted for when he was part of Mr. Harper's government. That's the first thing. The second is that I have divested all my assets, with the exception of cash and personal real estate, house and a cottage, into the
house and a cottage, one of those being the one I just showed you over in England, where he's hanging out with Maxwell, Joffrey Eggstein's girlfriend, who's complicit in all that terrible stuff.
The blind trust, as is the root. It's a blind trust. I can't, what that means for those who don't follow this, I have no control over it anymore. It's a blind trust. I have no control. I cannot divest anything from it. I can't change that. The trustee manages it accordingly.
Oh, come on, dude. I don't know what's in it. What's in it? I don't know. He knows everything that's in that blind trust. And his trustee, who is it? I tried looking up. There's no information on who his trustee is. Is it his wife? One of his banker buddies? Come on. This is ridiculous. Should make one of the conservatives his trustee. He should have to sell all of his stuff. There's the only way to have it fair. He's got a conflict of interest. He's just going to be doing things that helps Brookfield Asset Management and his $7 million worth of shares.
I have set up screens for Brookfield and a company called Stripe that I used to be on the board of. I've set those screens up already well in advance. They'll be administered by the clerk of the Privy Council and the chief of staff. And as well, I have already filed months and months and months and months in advance with the ethics commissioner all the detail of when the divestitures happen, all the details of those assets. So again, I've complied with all the aspects. I've over-complied, in fact, well in advance, and this is the system we have, and I'm proud.
It's not good enough. Sell your assets or tell us what they are.
That we have it because it draws a sharp contrast with what other countries have. Sorry, Steve.
This guy's just riddled with conflicts of interest. I'm less concerned about his financial assets than I am about the destructive policies he's going to implement. Journalists keep focusing on things that don't matter. To me, it's both. He's going to implement policies that boost his assets and push forward his agenda, which will destroy Canada. It's going to be layered in a way where that boosts his assets. And if you look in the past, he didn't support pipelines in Canada because that would take away profits from the pipelines in Brookfield Asset Management in UAE and Brazil. It would compete for that oil. He's going to do more of that. There we have it. The skeletons are fully coming out of the closet now. There's a lot of skeletons. I've got more of them on the way. I'm working on a whole bunch of stuff here. I'm working on like 3 or 4 videos in tandem each day. Some of these stories take longer to build out than others, but Pierre Poilievre's numbers, I'm happy to see are going up on Polymarket because that's the one that really matters here.
So yeah, Moose on the Loose. Thank you very much for that. And I hope that you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. And there's a lot of independent journalists out there who are doing their job. They're doing journalism. They're finding out things. They're trying to unpack what's there. They're peeling back the layers of the onion, trying to get to the core of things. They're not just putting out rhetoric and giving talking points, and they're not paid by tax dollars. They a lot of them do it out of their own pocket and make minimal money doing it. And a lot of them are deplatformed on social media because of they uncover things that Facebook and YouTube don't want them to look at. So thanks for that. We appreciate journalists like him, and I do call them journalists. They are the journalists of today, the real journalists. And we really appreciate independent journalism for all that it is and how it contributes to having us, understand the world we live in a little bit more. So thank you for that. Thanks everyone for participating today. It's all the time we got. So remember to continue to stay aware, like, share, take care. We'll be back same time, same place on the same platforms, God willing, tomorrow. And we'll stay tuned for Earshot Daily on CKLU 96.7 FM. Have a great, wonderful Wednesday, hump day, everyone. Ciao for now.
This is Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.